Thanksgiving.
I will be singing the United States national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the periled fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say
is our dream. Because remember, if you grew up watching all this American TV, which one did you first watch? Me, I used to watch Days of Our Lives. How many remember that one? Or Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. How many remember that one? Or Young and the Restless. And you are looking at Victor Newman and you are saying, I wish I go to America and find a man like that. Oh, you are looking at Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and you're like, man, these clothes, they are nice, they color. Or you are looking at what else was there, Family Matters, and you are saying, hey, Steve Urkel, he's funny. I mean, those are the things that maybe made you want to come to America, because you are looking, you think things are shining there. Or you watching Jam City with Jimmy Gadu. How many remember that? All this R&B, and you are listening to Can We Talk for a Minute? And all of a sudden you have a crush on Tevin Campbell. You are like, when I come to America, this is the first person I want to see. Then when you land in America, you realize, hey, sir, for me, there was no one to pick me at the airport. It was just going to be me and my suitcase. Everybody was minding their own business. So you land here, and of course the roads are as big as you see, right? And of course, you know, the restaurants are as wonderful as you saw them. How many of you had never gone to an all-you-can-eat? And the day they took you to an all-you-can-eat, you were like, you mean I'm going to eat everything here? You are just excited, so happy, so overjoyed. But then the reality sets in. You start thinking about the stress that you're going through. That you have to pay people, you have to look for jobs, you have to forget the standards that you had back home in Kenya. You are coming to a new place where the jobs are limited. You are either a nurse or a babysitter. And then for me, I became a nanny. And that's just a good word. Let me just say it in the Swahili. Maid. Yeah, and I mean, and back in my country, but back in Kenya, I had a house girl, We had a family house girl. Lakini sasa mimi nimekuwa maid, And I am working with people who I don't even know how to cook mac and cheese. It was a reality check. What is this I'm cooking, Mac and cheese, what is this? But you see, those are the challenges that we go through as immigrants that toughen us. And of course, you know, they tell you, don't come back. So you know you are here to win it. My imagination, I remember I thought when I come to America, I will go straight to Hollywood. Because back in Kenya, I was in Nations, newspapers. I was there. Best actress. Best actress. So I was like, here I will definitely make it. But the reality sets in. But let me tell you something they say. Challenges, it's not a bad thing. They toughen us. They make us stronger. Never say it is hard. Say it is challenging. Because challenging is a winding road which at one point it will be straight. But when you say it is hard, it's a dead end. You understand? So with that being said, we move on, and now you are meeting your friends who are telling you, Anna, you are just mark timing in America. Go back to Kenya. This actress, how are you going to make it here? But you know, if I listen to them, I will not be here today. If you listen to them, you will not be supporting people back home as you're supporting them. If you listen to them, you will not grow in your expertise and your gifts and the things that you want to share with the world. So I want to leave you with 3 things. Number 1, never forget to write down your dreams and your goals. Manifest, manifest, manifest. When I came to America, the first thing I did, I wrote a list of the things I want to become in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years. And I look back and I say, yes, I got that. Yes, I got that. I'm still working on that. If you don't manifest now, then you will not become what you want to be. Number 2, never forget that challenges make us stronger. Never forget that challenges are what will make you be successful. As we continue, don't say it is hard. Say it is challenges, because challenges can be overcome. And number 3, be your authentic self. Don't copy others. Don't want to, because others are, not doing their PhD, don't want to do a PhD if that is not going to fulfill your soul. If that's not going to help you become who you want to be in life. I told myself, I want to be an actress. I want to be a performing artist. I want to touch people with the gifts that God gave me. And that's what I did. I remember when that person told me, you are mark timing. I said, you know what? I'll make it, because I believe in myself. I believe in the God-given talents that God has given me. So therefore, be your authentic self wherever you are. If you are good at cooking, please start cooking. Don't wait for tomorrow. If you are good at, serving people, as one lady said here, keep serving, keep giving. If you're good at teaching, no one should tell you that you should not teach. Continue teaching, continue serving. And last but not least, as immigrants, there is one thing that we always do. We give back. And I want to tell you, there is so much gratitude in giving back, in serving others. I was at a business meeting yesterday, and somebody said, you know what? We all talk about our governments. The government is not doing this. The government is not doing that. But I believe it was John F. Kennedy who said, ask not what your government can do for you, but what you can do for your people. And I say that to say this, not because I want to be one person who is going to say, as I said, today I'm not here for any party. But I say this to say this. If tukienda Kenya, you hear somebody is sick in the hospital, there are no beds, please buy a bed. You hear somebody is suffering, there are no antibiotics, please offer some. If you have some money, buy some antibiotic. You hear some student is not going to school, please support so that child can go to school. So I wanted to just give you that hope and that inspiration, that gift, and to end with this poem, that this is not the time for us to be afraid. This is the time for us to be courageous. This is the time for us to share our gifts and talents. This is the time for us to believe in ourselves. So this poem is called The Diasporans. Hujambo, ekaro, elekeme, salana, salam, wagwan, how you day. These are the many languages that are woven together into a rich tapestry that make the diaspora. From east to west, north to south, we bring you our gifts, our talents, our expertise, and then some, making that delicious gumbo called America. From Chimimanda Ngozi Adichie, weaving our stories with style and grace. Lupita Nyong'o, putting us on the map with that Academy Award. Ilhan Omar, speaking on our behalf unapologetically. Ayan Lavazat, speaking on our behalf, saying the truth without fear. Dikembe Mutombo, blacking that shirt and showing you how it's done. Magat Wade, showing us how market women become super women. Omar Jadawat, raising hell and putting on fires in the name of justice. And of course, our African American brothers and sisters, descendants of our ancestors who survived the Maafa and like ashes rose to tell the tale, rose to live the tale, rose to strive, thrive, and survive. Our tenacity, our challenges, our courage needs to be studied, taught, and celebrated. We make way where there seem to be no way. And so as we celebrate you and share our light and spark all around the world, we the diasporans not only bring you ugali and skuma wiki, jollof rice and egusi, goat meat and pepper soup, gold and diamond, rubber and copper, timber and oil, tea and coffee, lions and zebras. We bring ourselves, our intellect, our courage, our bodies, our souls, and we stand shoulder to shoulder with our Western partners, unafraid, unapologetic, and courageous, knowing that we are the ones we've been waiting for. I say we, the diasporans, are the ones we've been waiting for. The spark that makes the Americas great, the diasporans. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anna. At this point, I'm gonna welcome our distinguished community leaders to come and give us some brief remarks. And I will start with Dr. Catherine Mwangi. Welcome to the stage. Dr. Catherine is a globally known health leader with over 25 years in digital health. And we know her as the founder of mHealth Kenya. And she's also currently serving as a captain of Safari District Golf. Karibu sana.
Thank you. So I'm going to start with a short story. I will maybe first start by acknowledging our guests, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, Professor Marwange, Senator Maora, and the rest of the Secretariat, all protocols observed. Good evening. The gentleman I'm going to talk about is also Fred, so I would like to mention that it is not the same Dr. Fred. So Fred is a Kenyan who came here a few years ago and worked in a home, not as a nanny, but took care of a house that was owned by a Mzungu called Macmillan. He would report at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the goal was for him to clean house, take care of the house, and make sure that everything, food and all that, was done. The man, Mr. Macmillan, was a businessman. He was not married and needed someone to just watch the house. So what happened is our dear Fred would report very early in the morning, make breakfast for the boss, and then the boss would leave. So what happened is one day, about an hour after the gentleman had left for work, he came back and found Fred watching TV with feet up, very comfortable. And he asked him, Fred, what happened? Are you done? And you know how Kenyans are, we are very animated. He did. For those who know, it means you're done. An hour into his work, he was done. Kenyans are resilient. We are hardworking. What happened is this guy worked himself out of a job. He was fired. But what he did is he realized, oh, I can do this. He went, registered a company, and ended up cleaning many homes every day and making a whole lot of money. Fred's story is not different from any of us. Kenyans come here, we work hard, we work 2-3 jobs, and then we go to school. Some of us are raising families, we are going to school, and I am no different than all of you sitting here. We all experience the same. Only after 15 years of being here, working hard, and thinking I have enough experience to go and make an impact in our country, I left and went to do what I was very passionate about, which was public health and tech. I went, in the beginning, worked as a country director for CDC Foundation, and then eventually registered my own company. I'm saying this because a lot of us who come here as experienced technocrats, we end up going home and we want to make a difference. But sometimes it's not easy. I went, registered a company, mHealth Kenya, and during the time when I ran the company, I was able to bring enough money. As a principal investigator, we were able to bring a lot of grants. And by the time I was giving up, and I will explain, I was able to bring at least over $12 million in funding that went towards supporting HIV, AIDS, and also a little bit of COVID. What happens is that sometimes as a woman, it's tough. I stand here in high heels to make an impact, because at one point I felt that I needed to be 6 inches taller to be able to face my colleagues, to be able to fight, to be able to survive, and I did. I survived 12 years. During the period when we were implementing COVID, and for those of you who have lived in Kenya or traveled during the COVID time, you may have downloaded a QR code. Did anyone here travel beyond COVID and had to download a QR code at some point? If you did, that system was called Jitenge. Jitenge started off as our surveillance contact tracing system that was developed with only 2 cases of COVID. It was my innovation. I developed Jitenge, and after being a surveillance and contact tracing system, it extended to surveilling truck drivers, and it also ended up in the airline, managing airline. Prior to that, thank you. Prior to that, I worked in the HIV space. Out of the 1.3 million people living with HIV that were being managed or receiving care and treatment, 900,000 of those were being managed using systems that we had developed, my company had developed. During COVID, when we started doing the work, the system, I was no longer just working with the Ministry of Health. I had to work with the Ministry of Transport, and I had to work with the Ministry of ICT. And questions started coming. Huyu anakula hii pesa na nani? Why are you eating alone? And it became difficult to the point where my life was not safe. People wanted to know where I lived, who I ate the money with. We do go home passionate to make improvements. We want a better country. We want to make impact. I did come back, but I want to go back home because that's where my heart is. And I know I do not speak alone. I know there are many who have gone and come back. In fact, when I heard you had come back, I said, if Matiang'i can come back, who am I? You know. So I'm here to say that a lot of us are passionate and we love our country. We want to see change. I was in Kenya the other day. When Sabasaba was happening, I had gone home to bury my mother-in-law. The challenges that we have, where we were burying my mother, the road was not passable. I needed to pay a grader. I wanted to pay for a grader because the government had not done the work. I was told that getting a grader required me talking to the MCA and maybe calling the governor. Somebody had to eat something for me to pay for a grader to come and fix the road to go bury my mother. When Sabasaba was happening, I spoke to a few young kids, and what they said is, we've lost hope. People are saying we are suicidal. We are not suicidal. I have gone to school, I've done my bachelor's, I have done my master's, and I'm still home. I start a business, I go and the city council clears my business. So what do? I'm not suicidal, but maybe my mom will be better off without me. It will be one more plate she does not have to cook. So the reason I am here is because of the same. I know you guys are sitting here because you want a better Kenya. I went to Kenya because I wanted a better Kenya. I was at one point about to apply for a position at Kenyatta Hospital. they needed a CEO. I thought I was qualified. And somebody told me, do you have kids you're raising? Don't dare. It's not safe. We want a better Kenya. So anybody that's going to make our country better, we will be right there. I was in Kenya during your tenure, during the time that you were working. I know your work ethic. I know what you've done. I saw you. I was there during the Matiang'i A. I was there when you were improving lands. We are victims of land grabbing. My mother is a widow and she has lost land. And I know you played a big role in making sure that a lot of people got their title deeds. So if your mission, if you can make Kenya the same as you did when you did all those other ministries, and if we can come together, all of us, with every little thing that we have learned, all the skills we have learned, if we were all to be given an opportunity to go and make that kind of impact, I know we will have a better Kenya. But do we have that environment? And who is going to create that environment? So my challenge to you is, how do you convince? What will you tell us that's going to be different? What are you going to do for us that is not been repeated before? What are you going to tell our youth who have masters, 2, 3, they keep going to school hoping that maybe the next degree is going to get them a job? You know, how are we going to feel that this is going to be different? You have a lot of work. You may have a lot of people supporting you, but I think I will want, like everybody else, and all our Gen Zs who are here, we would want to know what's going to be different. And my challenge to you is also, you've worked in the government, you know how it worked. What lessons have you learned that you can impact this time so that it may be different? And you know that if you do it, we will be right behind you. I want a better Kenya. I know you want a better Kenya. We all want a better Kenya. How do we know the best way to follow you that is going to be different from what other politicians have told us? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Catherine. I think everybody in this room agrees we want a better Kenya. My next speaker on stage will be Dr. Helen Ogalo. Dr. Helen Ogalo is an engineer with the Maryland Department of Transport. He also serves as a professor at the University of Maryland. Karibu, Daktari.
Thank you for coming here, and I welcome our guests, although some have left. Dr. Maronga, it's good to see you again after a long time. I'm here to speak about what I do, what I've done for some time now, about 20 years. I work for the state, and my area of emphasis is traffic control design. I don't know how many people know here that if you just go and pave a road and you don't put those signs, you don't put those pavement on the road, it's not a road. Because a road that cannot control how traffic use it is not really a road, and that is the emphasis of what I do. My concern, which has been troubling me a lot, first of all, is equity and inclusion in the provision of roads in Kenya. You look at some areas, you find that they are really well equipped in terms of the network of roads. But you go to other places, you have to walk long distances to get to a place where there's a road that you can use. So at one time, I'm also a member of engineers, professional engineers in Kenya. So I presented a paper at one of the conferences, and I mentioned this concerning the roads. And one of the things that I did was to look at, let's say, the population density and compare with the percentage of mileage of roads that were in those areas. And when you look at that, you find that there's a lot of inequity in that. For example, I want to just give one example here that might be useful for us. If you compare, for example, Kirinyaga County and Murang'a County, the population density is 413, that is for Kirinyaga, and 419, that is for Murang'a. But the percentage of the road network in Kirinyaga is 1.4. That is taking the network of the roads in Kirinyaga compared to the total network or the total mileage that is there. It's only 1.4%. But Murang'a has 2.4. So you can see there is a difference there. Yet their population density is about the same. I compared also Kiambu and Kisii. The population density in Kisii is in Kiambu is 952, and that one in Kisii is 958. But the network in Kisii is 1.4%, while the network in Kiambu is 3.4. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that we know what road does. If somebody is sick and you want to take this person to the hospital and the network is not good, there's a very likelihood that this person might end up dying just because he could not be taken to the hospital in time. So for us to be in a position where we can distribute what the government is providing, then it means that there should be some equity in the way these amenities are provided. And my hope, Daktari, is that when you reach that stage, which I know you are going to be there, then this will be taken into account. Because a person who is sick in Kisii is not better than a person who is sick in Lokichogwe or somewhere there. So we want to be able to provide, as a government, to provide for everybody who is there to make sure that they can be given equal provisions. The other area of my concern is traffic fatalities. That is one of the things that I also do. Here in Maryland, for example, I looked at another statistics which can help us to understand what I'm talking about. We find that the number of vehicles, the total number of vehicles that are in Maryland is about 5 million. That one is, I'm looking at the statistic called 2022. Also, the number of vehicles in Kenya about that time is about 4.5 million. Yet the number of fatalities in Kenya is about 4,000 compared to 500, about 500 and something in Maryland. You remember that people who are involved in fatalities are majority progressive, rich, people who have some money. And in the end, we are losing a lot of people like that who could be enhancing the development through those. My thought is that this should be a focus for the government, that funds be made available, and not only funds, but programs be put in place that can allow these fatalities to be reduced. Even if they can be reduced by a half, that would be something that would be helpful. So it is my hope that when you get there, these are issues that will be looked into. Thank you.
Thank you. Asante sana. Next on stage, I'm going to welcome Joseph Nyakundi Mecha. It's my honor to introduce him. We all know him as a community leader here. He's very well respected. He's the CEO of Mecha Financial Group and a seasoned financial expert with nearly 20 years of experience, recognized as a member of the $1 Million Round Table and a certified financial fiduciary. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Joseph Mecha. Karibu sana.
Good evening, everyone. Matiang'i he? Matiang'i ha? Arambe! Arambe! Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Kenyans, distinguished guests, the sixth, Dr. Fred Okengo Matiang'i. You know, I said in some forum yesterday that I already bought champagne. I'm ready to pop that 2027. My name is Joseph Nyakundi Mecha, a proud son of Kenya, a husband, a father, a business leader, and a committed community organizer in the DMV area. So tonight, I rise not only with pride, but with purpose. As a Kenyan, or as Kenyans in the diaspora, we know the price of progress. Personally, I came to this country, I immigrated to this country in the year 2000. You know, you remember those, except the Gen Zs, it was during the KANU era. You know what that meant. Our country, Kenya, is sliding to those dark times. We have built in this country, we have struggled, we have persevered. And like many back home, we yearn for leadership that reflects the values we hold dear. Integrity, discipline, vision, and results. Dr. Fred, I've watched him. Personally, I went to school in Kenya. I went to Moi University. I was a teacher at Kisumu Boys High School. From there, I became an education officer in Vihiga district before relocating here. Dr. Matiang'i became Minister for Education. As an education officer, it was difficult to even transfer teachers. When he started the delocalization policy, most of the teachers, everybody thought it will not work. But guess what? It worked. That's why I stand before you this evening to wholeheartedly endorse the sixth, Dr. Fred Okengo Matiang'i, as the next president of the Republic of Kenya. Dr. Matiang'i is not a stranger to results. He's a man of action. The Ministry of Education, you go to Kenya these days, school buses are painted yellow. Yes. The only minister I remember who took action and people respected those actions is John Mishuki, right? Remember John Mishuki? Yes. He brought order to the Ministry of Education. He delivered digital transformation in ICT. These days we have in Kenya content creators everywhere, right? Because of him. He restored confidence in our internal security systems. I remember when he was Minister for Interior, we couldn't hear of terrorist attacks in Kenya. He fought corruption, not with words, but with systems, with laws, and with fearless execution. He's a leader who believes in service, not self-interest. A public servant who shows up early, works late, and delivers every time. I was watching some of the clips. Dr. Matiang'i would show up. I think I saw somewhere, he showed up somewhere in Koumerana at 5 in the morning. People were fighting. Some people were fighting over land. They couldn't get even title deeds. But he was able to fix that problem. As a community leader in the diaspora, I can say without hesitation, Kenya needs him now more than ever. We are tired of recycled politics. We are tired of empty promises. We are tired of impunity. You can see what is happening in Kenya. Young people. Recently, somebody says, shoot them in the leg. As if Kenya does not have a constitution. We are a constitutional democracy. We are tired of empty promises. We are tired of impunity. We are ready for a Kenya that works, for the mama mboga, the graduate hustling for opportunity, the farmer seeking fair markets, and the diaspora longing to invest with confidence. Dr. Matiang'i is not a perfect man, but he is proven. He doesn't seek power for power's sake. He seeks to restore dignity to leadership and hope to our people. So tonight, I ask you to do more than listen. I ask you to engage. I ask you to stand with courage. I ask you to believe again. Let's believe in our motherland. Let's believe in Kenya. Let us organize. Let us mobilize and make sure we go home, campaign. Let us activate our networks. Let us support this campaign. In the diaspora, we need to speak with one voice. Let's bring home leadership that delivers. Dr. Matiang'i is ready. So we are. Thank you, and God bless Kenya.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Today I've learned one thing. Ukisema harambe, tunasema? Thank you, Mecha. Thank you so much. On stage, I'm going to welcome my co-host again, Karanja Maura, who is an educator and long-term community leader in Baltimore. We all know that in 2022, he made history by running for Senate, elevating the visibility of Kenyan American community in Maryland politics. I think he's the best person to welcome tonight, our keynote speaker. Karibu sana Bwana Maura.
It's my honor. My big honor. A lot has been said. Today is not about me. Today is about the future of Kenya. We are at crossroads right now. And with no further ado, I'm going to take this moment to ask you to give a hard applause as I invite Dr. Fred Matiang'i.
Let's be seated. Thank you very much, indeed. Good evening. I elected to speak from here, and I told the organizers to indulge me because proximity is very important. I want to be close to you as I engage with you. First of all, allow me to take this opportunity to thank the Lord for all of you wonderful people, especially the leaders of this DMV area. We had a meeting last night and had some dinner. I had an opportunity to listen to quite a number of you, and because we have been interacting, many of you have become very close friends, and we are always engaging. I will explain shortly what I intend to do in the next 1 year, 1.5 years. I am going to be on a listening mission, just such as I am today, meeting Kenyans in groups of 100 to 150 maximum, to have conversations with people about our country and about the thoughts I have and what I think would happen in our country. I'm not doing so because I do not know, or I do not have ideas of my own on what I think would happen. But I'm doing so because, quite frankly, I think a time has come for us to also change even the paradigms of how we manage leadership and how we engage public service, as it were. So I thank you very sincerely for this listening caucus this evening. That's how I'm looking at it. I have come here to listen. We need to change the top-bottom approach to public affairs, where leaders talk all the time, we give lectures all the time, as if we are the ones who know and others don't know, when in actual fact the people we are supposed to serve are yourselves, and you have ideas and you know what you want to happen to your country. But for the short time I'm going to be here, I'm very, very grateful to you, wonderful people, for the time you have taken to be here. I'm happy that I've met some of you I've not seen for a long time. I think the 2 years I've spent at the bank, I didn't have an opportunity to move around, obviously because of the constraints of work. But now, since I started having these listening activities in the US and having meetings, I met a group of about 150 people in Atlanta, just like yourselves, the other day in Texas, and now today I'm meeting with you, mainly leaders from this general area. So there are many things I could say, but Kathy, you speak for me in more, and Dr. Gola, the same thing, you speak for me too. And I'll try as much as I can, if possible, to respond to some of the issues that you have raised and some of the points you have. But let me begin at this particular, because I think I have a responsibility as a public leader to say that, or as an aspiring public leader to say that. Chinua Achebe, long time ago, before even some people in this audience were born, wrote a very small book entitled The Trouble with Nigeria. And the opening sentence of that book was, "The trouble with Nigeria is simply and squarely a failure of leadership." There's nothing wrong with Nigeria. There's nothing wrong with Nigerian water, Nigerian weather, or anything else. He said it's simply a failure of leadership. I think the first thing I would like to do tonight is something very practical that I've been dealing with in my own personal conversations with people since I came here. There are roughly, I think, about 300,000 or so Kenyans in the US, Balos, isn't it? About 300,000 Kenyans. When it came to registering to vote, probably about 10,000 or so registered to vote out of those 300,000 Kenyans. There are about 2 or 3 polling stations. And even then, when it came to the actual voting itself, I don't think 3,000 Kenyans voted in 2022. So let me begin by saying this to you. And even we, as the leaders or aspiring leaders, we can't love your money and the remittances that you're making, but we don't love your contribution. My first challenge to you, wonderful people, is that you need to participate in electing the leaders of Kenya, so that then you can hold people to account. So because I'm a presidential candidate, I took it upon myself to begin conversations with people on how we can make this happen. And this morning I was talking to the people at the mission, and Mr. Mwaura, we agreed that you are going to form a small team that brings together leaders and representatives from other cities in the US so that we can complete a proposal on how we can increase the polling stations in the US from the current 3 to 10 or 15, and then begin a process of sensitizing the Kenyans who are here to participate in the electoral process. Because, my brothers and sisters, whatever we do, unless we are participating in making that decision on who is going to make decisions for us, I mean, what are we going to talk about if you are not participating? We can only whine and dine and complain about it. And I might tell people in Nairobi, for instance, that if the middle class in Kenya actually wanted to change the country, they can change the country. Going to Current Club and having drinks at Current Club is good, but it will not get us to where we want to go. Participating in the process will get us there. We can stay on X, it's a good forum, we can engage, yes, but voting, actually voting and going to vote makes a difference. Because that way then you'll be able to take decisions that affect the way in which your country is managed. So my challenge to you, leaders, is that please follow up on this discussion we had with people at the mission to complete a proposal that will be looked at by the IEBC. On front, as leaders who are outside of government, we have already started a process of both petitioning the IEBC and also with a perspective of going to court if need be, to see to it that we have more polling stations here in the US so that you guys can vote. Because it's not, if there was a polling station here tonight in Baltimore, there are more people here who would vote than all those who voted in 2022 from the US in the first place. So this is something I think we need to work on. That's where we need to start from in terms of our participation and so on. So let me go to my brief remarks tonight, and then I am looking forward more to interacting with you and answering questions and giving you my perspectives. And Kathy, I'm going to answer your questions, the ones you asked me about my experience in public service and what I think I'll do differently, as it were. Now, there's nothing wrong with our country. That's where I'll begin. I am one of those people who had the privilege of serving my country in the position of a cabinet minister for 10 years, 2 terms with President Uhuru Kenyatta. That was one of the best times in my life. With all the challenges and the crises, in the Ministry of Interior, for example, 2/3 of the time you operate on adrenaline. Because you sleep with phones on either side of your bed. There's no single night that you'll go through the night without those phones ringing, and none of them calls you to wish you happy birthday or to wish you a good night's sleep. It's a crisis after crisis after crisis. A dam has burst out in Solai, in Nakuru, and it has swept down families. Nobody knows, even at that time when the regional commission doesn't know how many families have been swept down. And that is 11 o'clock at night. From then on, there's no night for you because you have got to gather the country together and make, decisions. Some crazy fellows have probably crossed the border, and we have been tracing them and we have lost them. And chances are that they are likely to be terrorists, and nobody can trace them. We have lost them a bit somewhere between one point of the border and another. You cannot go to sleep because you don't know where they are headed. Because if they get there before you get them, you know what's going to happen. So have the time. That is the kind of life that you lead. But I want to say this, and this is my testimony. I say this very sincerely from the bottom of my heart. I thank the Lord for every minute, every hour I served. And as I said, it's the best time in my life. We were not, thank you. We were not the most, perfect or ideal group of people, But by God's grace, we were able to do much. And then I got to know the country in ways I never knew it before I went to public service. And enjoy and love my people more than I loved them before I came in, because I came to go into people's lives. You meet ordinary people and their experiences on a day-to-day basis. Some of them are heart-wrenching, others are, inspiring. But it's all in a day's work, and it's a very exciting opportunity to serve. And for those of you who were with us last night, I spent a lot of time telling you about some of those experiences and how great they are and so on. So, since independence, nearly 63 years now, we've had self-rule, we've had 3 administrations, actually 4. This is the 5th administration. And in addition to peaceful transfer of power, we have been relatively stable, except for when we have had challenges such as we did in 2007, and when we have had security challenges of one kind or the other. We are the anchor state in East Africa, and on the Horn of Africa, that's how we are perceived. We are the most influential and probably consequential environment within the Horn of Africa. Believe me when I say this to you, because of my exposure and travel. We are some of the hardest working people on the continent. And, we have one of the most educated populations. The reason why people choose us for investment and so on is the leverage we have is the human resource capacity that we have in our country. So by and large, because I always start by telling people that even when we have political contestations and challenges as a country and as a group of people, the last thing we can do is talk down our country, because our country is our only home on earth, and we have a patriotic duty and a citizenship responsibility to always ensure that we draw a line between country and the leaders or the administrations that will come and go and that will change from time to time. Our country, by and large, is okay. The fundamentals of our country, right from independence, are such that we could do even much better than we are doing right now, which I'm going to come to shortly. But I have to say this to you, and if I didn't, I will be lying to you. We have very fundamental challenges in our country right now. I, as somebody who has served before and served in a very sensitive responsibility, I hate to break it to you, but this is the truth. I think our country is very close to the cliff, and we are facing very, very serious challenges. When you see the level of violence in the country, when you see citizens hijacking a police vehicle and driving it around, the anger and pain and frustration down below is unprecedented. I have not seen it before. Those of you who have come from Kenya recently, you can bear me out on this. The population is angry, frustrated, and especially disappointed because of unfulfilled promises, constant piling of lie after lie, failure in critical sections of our society and our economy. The challenges we are facing now in the education sector, nearly chaotic. No one knows what's going to happen next. Capitation not going to schools. I am told, because I speak to a lot of principals these days, that schools are going to close a bit early because of budgetary challenges and so on. All these are signs of state failure. But the one that worries me most, and the one that should worry you most, is one, that level of violence. And you are Kenyans, I'll be very candid with you. How Mungiki, how Sungusungu, and all these violent groups came up is they started, first of all, because the former state failed, the informal state took over. So as a result of the violence and the recklessness that we have seen from the formal state, the vigilante industry is going to start growing. And if the vigilante industry grows, it means we are setting and moving to an element of anarchy. That happens when our leaders are making excuses, and saying, it is this tribe or that tribe. It is the Kikuyus who are trying to destroy government and so on. I said in public the other day when I was in Kiambu that, this has been essentially a history of excuses. In the first year of the administration, they said it's Uhuru and his administration that left us empty coffers, that didn't do anything, and so on. Whole year. The following year, it was Raila and Asmio and the Luos who are bringing maandamano and causing problems. Whole year gone. The third year, it is ni Wakikuyu wanataka kuharibu serikali. The fourth year, it will be ni Wakisii na Wakamba na Waluya wanataka kuharibu serikali, and so on and so forth. That's why I said there's nothing wrong with our country, except that we elected through a democratic process incapable leaders who clearly, sometimes you wonder whether they had a plan to govern or they had a plan to do something else. Because if they had a plan to govern, we will not be in the state in which we are. And now, I want to answer the first question, Kathy, you asked, what would be the difference? I want to be absolutely frank with you. I am here and I am interested in running because I believe that I will offer better management and better coordination of government than what we are seeing. And why? I said the other day in a TV interview that after 10 years of service as a minister and the last 4 of them spent as coordinator of government activities, I understand government almost like the back of my hand. That you know, what actually needs to be done, Kenyans are not looking for a government to cook 1 million chapatis for them. They are not looking for, Kenyans are not looking for a government to make the bed for them or raise the children for them. Or, you know, the Kenyans are looking for a government that will do one thing. Just wake up in the morning, go put your ass on the chair and work. That's all. Do your work. And don't make excuses. You know, when you're supposed to do the work, don't make excuses and say it's so and so, it's so and so. My commitment, and I've been telling fellow Kenyans that since I put my name on the ticket and I put my hand on this, I'm saying this, hold me to account. I will not make excuses. I will not shirk. I will not hide. I will not fudge. I will not bend from responsibility. I will face responsibility head on and do the right thing. And there's no problem because you see in Kenya, you have a fantastic institution called the public service. The public service in Kenya has been the basis on which as a country we have stood. People going to the public service, they do a fantastic job. Many of them are very professional and very committed people who need, and that's my second point, Kathy, who need trust, leadership that they can trust. Because the trust deficit in the administration is uncoverable. The distance between what they say and the truth is uncoverable. That people need trustworthy leaders, people they can trust. That if they tell you this is going to happen, it is going to happen. That's why I don't want to spend so much time criticizing others. I would like to spend more time saying, in my view, we would like to have a trustworthy government, a government you can believe, a credible government. Whether it's foreign policy, you know, our country, Kenya, over the years has been known for 3 things: stability, reliability, and credibility. That you know what we tell you is credible as a government. The reason why we are an anchor state in the Horn of Africa and in East Africa is because our neighbors trust us. Over the years, they have trusted us. The largest UN office in the south is in Nairobi. We have very credible relations with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. How on earth can we be the ones arresting opposition leaders and returning them at night to their countries? These things are hurtful to our image as a country. They affect our citizens, especially those of you who live outside the country. If today you were a consultant, a Kenyan consultant in Khartoum, working for a UN agency, how would you be comfortable when that government probably thinks you are a citizen of a hostile country? And it is unnecessary, the things we need to do. So, Kathy, I think the difference would be I am interested in, and I believe there are many people in Kenya who are looking forward to honest and trustworthy leaders, people they can believe and people they can trust. All of you wonderful people grew up in an environment where you know viongozi wa kitaifa, wakubwa wa serikali wakizungumza mahali pale waseme kuanzia mwaka ujao mpango wa elimu utakuwa namna hii. Kila mtu anaamini hakika hivyo ndivyo itakuwa. Lakini tuseme ukweli, leo watu wakisimama pale ahadi tumepata ahadi kama maelfu sijui 15 na hakuna hata moja, nothing. In 2022, just before the elections, I was invited to a meeting by Archbishop Ole Sabit and the Anglican bishops. And I spoke to them in this video clip that has been doing rounds all over. The bishops asked me questions about, you know, the budget, saying 5 billion, 2 billion to see border, I don't know which billion is to who. They asked me, I said, these are lies. You're just being lied to. I said that 3 years ago. And Kenyans, it has come to pass. And I said, the Chief Justice invited us to a meeting in Naivasha of the National Council for Administration of Justice. Everybody was in the room, including judges of the Supreme Court and the TPP, the entire justice sector was there. Then I was asked, including the late Jebukati who attended the meeting, I was asked this question about money and campaign finance. And I said, you know, this wash business we are seeing here, some of these people doing well on the campaign trail are people who are on the Interpol list for wash and money laundering. If we are not careful as a country, we are going to launder into elective offices up to 40% of these characters. And we will pay a price for it. Today, my colleagues, those of you who are in the finance sector, you know we have been listed. 3 weeks ago, the EU also listed us as an insecure financial transaction environment. It has never happened since independence. And the reason why I was very surprised about that EU one is that we are the only country in East Africa on that list. I want to be diplomatically sensitive. Sitaki kuongea mambo mengine niseme, unajua hata Burundi haiko huko. Ta Somalia haiko huko. Sisi tu ndio tuko huko kwa East Africa. Sisi ndio tumeandikwa hapo. Tunafanya ujeuri wa fedha pia tunafanya. So these are the issues. This is the reason why I would like to run for president, because I believe our country deserves and should get better. Our country deserves and should get better leadership, in my view. And you're not going to bring it from Mars or from Jupiter. The people are there. They are willing and ready to serve their country. What they need are leaders who will go and work. I have not arrived from heaven myself. And you know, I am not one of those who carry around a big Bible ambayo inaweza kukuangusha. I go to churches there every day, singing songs, hymns, trying to pretend that I am holy. I am a sinner like you. It's just that I am a realistic sinner who will say, who would like to do his work and get his work done. That is it. Who will not make excuses when I'm supposed to deliver services, and who is willing to level with the people of Kenya and tell them the truth, as it were. We know when Gen Z happened, the demonstrations against Finance Bill 2024 in June 2024. First of all, I asked very many people, and you know, the privilege I have is that you cannot hoodwink me. I think, as someone said in this room, the late John Mijuki and myself are probably the most consequential ministers of security in independent Kenya. I was there for 5 years. I know our capacity and I know what we will do. How was our parliament overrun in broad daylight, and parliament is 2 kilometers from State House? So, and then MPs were scampering for life. What is shocking to me to this day, honestly speaking, and you Kenyans, I mean, this is something you should ask yourself questions and answer. No one has asked the question, what actually happened and why? Because in ordinary circumstances, we should have had an all-parties parliamentary inquiry, where all parties come together, have a parliamentary inquiry. In fact, if I was president that time, I would have worked with the leader of majority and worked with the speaker to have an all-parties parliamentary inquiry. Why? It would have even given me an opportunity as president to listen to the Gen Z and to have an opportunity for them to ventilate so that I understand what is actually going on, have the parents come there, and it would have given us an opportunity as a country to do deep dive and soul searching on what we had not done that caused Gen Z to get to that point. So, we did not do it because viongozi wa kitaifa think they know everything. Then 25th June came, 2025. We lost more lives. Then Sabasaba came. We lost more lives. And my brothers and sisters, we cannot continue that way. That is not how we are supposed to live. And in all that, you can see irresponsibility, dereliction of duty, recklessness. And it's best demonstrated by the language you have heard leaders use and the sentiments that you hear leaders using. I was shocked in this day and age, 63 years after independence. There's somebody who talks about tribes. Where do you live? I mean, those things, nobody talks about those things anymore. I asked some friends last night where we were having dinner. Which one of us goes to hospital in Kenya and you are sick? You are very, very sick. You are shivering in your car. But then you ask people, please check on the list, what the tribal background of the doctor on duty before I go in. Because you just get in, you are treated, and sometimes you don't even know the ethnic background of the fellow who's treating you. But until you are treated, you go away. Why should it matter? When you walk to a bank, for example, in Kenya, you go to Equity or a family bank, you want services, you go to the teller. Do you first of all ask, by the way, where do you come from? Before you ask, it's transactional. You just fill out your papers or you discuss your loan and you go away. It doesn't matter anywhere else. Why should it matter when it comes to making decisions on the leadership of the country? It's because some of us tuko na shida fulani sijui ni ya kurogwa ya huko nyuma, which we should never ever ever as a country accept. And that's why the young people in this audience who are listening to me, Gen Z is an opportunity to step into the third wave or the third generation of leadership in Kenya, modern Kenya. This is what is going to give us. This thinking and this approach is what will give us a modern country. A country where the content of your character matters more than your surname. You know, the values you hold, the delivery of services is more important than your surname. Because all those primitive things where your surname is supposed to lead you somewhere, so that if your name is Omolo, then I make a decision whether or not you should pass through this gate. That time is gone. And Kenyans, let us not only resist, let us reject that kind of attitude. So, I'll speak about this until the cows come home, but this is my vision. That one, we can put up, and I can promise, we can put up a credible government that can be trusted, that will ensure the stability of the country, that is reliable. We will not do some of those things that will hurt the image of our country. When I have another time, I will tell you about some of these challenges that we had, even when I was Minister for Security, when some of our neighbors were trying those kinds of things, and we told them, we will not solve your problems. Your problems will be solved there. Don't drag us into your quarrels. Everyone is free to come to Kenya and have fun, as long as they don't break our laws. If you break our laws, that's a different story. But if you're just coming to do business in Nairobi, have a girlfriend in Nairobi, do whatever, you are free. Do business here, put up a whatever, that's fine. That's what our country is supposed to be. Because we want to be honorable and respectable members of the international community. And we are signatories to all those conventions, including the protection of human rights and stuff like that. That's what I hope we would do as a government. We would sit down and reorganize the education sector that is chaotic. Imagine, how can you not be frustrated if you are a young university student? You don't know when you're going to have help to start with. You don't know when the semester is beginning or ending. You do not know whether you are going to do exams or not. Statements fly left, right, and center from the ministry on your fate. You don't know which one to believe. The one that came out today, the one that was made by the minister, or the one that was made by the president. You don't know. Chaotic. How are you supposed to live your life? Yet, you know, in a sector like that, you're supposed to have a sense of predictability to move forward. I will advance this argument, especially when we come to the campaign proper. We waived examination fees when we were in government. Because I can tell you, as a Minister for Education, when we looked at the budget lines and the allocations to the Examination Council and what we have in the budget in the ministry, there was no point really of levying examination fees, especially when you know it is actually going to be a wastage issue, it's going to be an inclusion issue, it's going to be a completion issue. For the educators in the room, like Dr. Weche, you know what that means is that there are people who are not going to do exams because they can't afford 5,700. And if they stop there, that is wastage. All the resources we are putting to educate them is wasted. And these people's lives is messed up. It means it is going to exclude some people. That's why it's an inclusion issue. Only those who are well-to-do will be able to do that. It means it's also a completion issue because you see, you're going to start having dropouts as a result of this kind of bottlenecks. These are barriers to educational completion, as it were, and the educators in the room will understand what I mean. That is a way that affects the human resources we have for our country. I don't know whether I can be crazy enough to do those kinds of things in society. We would like to run a government that will pay attention to that, because that is, for us in Kenya, education is our gold mine, because that is how we train, and that is the foremost resource we have, and that is the leverage we have for growth and development. Go anywhere in this world, you will find Kenyans there, educated Kenyans working in all these international organizations. Sylvia, my colleague, is here. From next week, I'll call her my former colleague when my notice for the bank expires, from the World Bank. And they will tell you, there, we have several economists. We are actually one of the few African countries, I can say that authoritatively, that have contributed significantly to the capacities that you have, even at the bank here. It's because of our education. That is one thing we cannot mess. We need to address it, and we'll sort it out. We will secure the country and ensure that, you know, it is yani ni aibu ya ajabu. The people are walking around in the capital city of our country, in the capital, not then in the capital city of our country, carrying rungus and the sticks and kicking doors, businesses, and so on. There are banana republics that are better than that. We cannot allow that. My brothers and sisters, let us all come together and ensure this does not happen as we go forward, so that we strengthen ourselves and strengthen our country. But you know, finally, and this is the last segment of my remarks tonight, I have not lost hope, and I will not lose hope in my country. And I want to ask you, wonderful people, because when there are challenging times like this, it's very easy to be tempted to lose hope, to give up on your country. And for you especially, who are here in the United States of America, like Kathy said, you go there, kukidoka, unarudi. Then you say, acha nikae tu. Then you are not going back, you are here, and everything seems to work one way or the other here. You drive to the seaside and have a nice weekend, get your friends on Thanksgiving Day and have a barbecue and stuff like that. That's fine. But look, even this one was built and it got here because people made sacrifices. So it is our turn to make sacrifices for our generation, so that our children and our children's children will find a Kenya that is like this one, so that other people will also come to our country and never wish to leave. because they will find that our country is also very nice, and it can happen. And the reason why I have this hope is because I can speak with authority. I know my country. I know my people. I know my fellow citizens. We are better people than this. My country is better than this. What we are seeing and the behavior of the people you see in administration and so on is not who we are as a people. That does not reflect the true picture of Kenya. I don't know about you, but look, my friends, I have been in the public service. I have seen police officers cross swollen rivers with examination sheets on their heads or on the side, walking through. They're not paid additional fees for that, protecting those papers and ensuring that those papers are not messed up. During Corona, I went to some place beyond Embakasi to thank some Kenyan women who had decided on their own volition, nobody asked them, government did not ask them, to cook for police officers who were manning the roadblock at that time. Two of them lawyers in Machakos. They had come together, organized themselves, and they were supplying food to those police officers, cooking for them every day. They actually created a makeshift kitchen. The government did not give them budget to do that. They volunteered, they mobilized women, and they were cooking for the police officers there every day. I went to Limuru at 1 a.m. at night, one time, with my colleague Matiang'i Koumerana, who was then Minister for Health, to a police roadblock. And I found women from the local shops serving those police officers with tea and bringing bread. Government did not ask them. The Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Phyllis Wakiaga and Company, putting private sector people together to contribute water tanks for police stations and soap so that police officers can wash their hands to deal with infection at that particular time. I have seen with my eyes how Kenyans stand up when we have a disaster, donating blood, when we call for food donations, when we have a challenge. Kenyans turning up in their numbers to contribute food. During Corona, we wouldn't have succeeded were it not for the big support we got from the private sector. The private sector team, chaired by Madam Karuku from East African Breweries, and bringing together all these people, committed, attending meetings every day without asking for sitting allowance, and guiding us and working with the government to secure the lives of our people. We are a great country, and we can do many things. I have worked with public servants who will not ask a question if you ask them to come to work over the weekend. As long as you are trustworthy enough, you respect them and take their advice and don't politicize their decisions or try to create funny games of parachuting people because they come from your tribe and promote them and that kind of rubbish. Public servants who are committed and focused on serving their country. Our country is great. We are better people. So because of that, don't lose hope. We will rise again. We will cross the bridge. And this momentary challenge we have because of some challenges with some of our leaders, we will overcome it and build and move forward. After COVID, we said we will build big and better. And we will go forward. We are the long-distance running country. So we are resilient. We will do well as we move forward. So all I ask you, my brothers and sisters, is this. Let's go beyond these nice conversations we have. Mwaura, let us finish that petition. Let us have additional polling stations here in the US. Wake up in the morning and vote and determine your leaders. Do not complain and write nice stories about what is working and what's not working. It is good to say that because we need those views. But you could actually make it even better by casting a vote and making a decision. And encourage your brothers and sisters back home to participate in the electoral process, to reject violence, reject the temptations to be divided, and reject all this kasumba mbaya that is being brought to us because of incompetence. You know, when people are incompetent and they are not able to work, they make excuses. You know, from morning up to evening, the first time they open their mouth, they say it is Mwaura. You know, it is Mwaura who's not doing his work. Next time they tell you it is Major, you know, and so on and so forth. And the work is looking at them. The challenges are looking at them. They are there every day. And all they need to do is just go to work, sit down, put people together and work. So that is how I think Kathy will make a difference. And I am committed. You asked me about my experience in public service. I've said it was a wonderful experience, and I succeeded because I trusted the people I worked with, and they trusted me. And every single day was essentially a celebration of our nationhood everywhere you go. Whether you meet rural folk or people, you know, sometimes I was telling some friends last night that one thing that I am going to have to learn to live with in this thing I'm now doing, that, you know, I never thought I would actually first of all go into politics and start campaigning and looking for votes. Now I'm here. Sometimes it's an emotional experience, to be honest with you. You know, like when I went to Kiambu, you know, Kenyans are really wonderful people. You meet these women, these ordinary women, some of them are actually walking bare feet. And if you even sit down with them, they actually know what the country needs, and they talk to you very responsibly and very nicely. Those people are not wheeler dealers, they are not cartels, they are not wishy-washy guys. They just want a peaceful and stable country. End of story. So, you know, tuaje mambo mingi na story mingi. You know, let's get some work done. Now, I keep telling our leaders, you know, every time they are sometimes even criticizing us and saying, oh, it's the opposition that is sponsoring violence. And I tell them, there is nobody in this world called opposition. People have names. Say it is Fred Matiang'i and give the evidence for it. Because even that blanket and general condemnation is part of that laziness and that recklessness and escapist behavior, as it were. Be direct and say who it is who is doing that kind of thing. There is nobody called opposition, as it were. Just say who it is who is supporting and provide the evidence for it. We are a mature country. We are better than this. We can do a lot of good things as a people. So, my wonderful people, join us, those of us who are walking this journey to making Kenya an even stronger, better, much more stable environment where we are all proud to be. Because I can guarantee you and I promise you, if we stick together and work the way we are working, our better days are ahead of us. So, our better days are ahead. So let's work together. I'm asking each one of you, when you have registered to vote for me. But I don't put a full stop there. I put a comma. I say vote for me, comma, and hold me to account. Yeah. And hold me to account, because this, I am not given to those types of stories. I used to enjoy driving in schools even at 6 in the morning and hanging out with the teachers and until the job is done. There isn't anything I cannot do if it is my assignment, if it is my work. And when Kenyans tell me about it, like I've had some of you refer to it tonight, please know this. I wasn't doing you a favor. You paid me to do it. So that is what you paid me to do. I was earning your money every month, and I pray that if you decided to hire me again, I'll be worth your salary. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. We can get seated. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And actually, I believe those who came here not convinced are convinced. And if you're not, we're going to have more meetings like this to make sure that you get convinced. Dr. Matiang'i has a history that if you Google it, don't listen to Baba Moore or Senator Moore. That's not enough. I'm biased in many ways. Just go check a little bit. Do a little homework. You know, look at the resumes of the people you're dealing with, a number of options. We're going to go to the question session. But there's one thing I want to say before we move on. If you really believe, and I know you do, that this is a journey we have started to State House, you're going to act like you're a person who is already in State House. What do I mean by that? For one, we cannot be carrying those tribalism he mentioned right here, today, in your own area. Because let people be attracted to us, to this campaign, by the way we behave, the way we act. They're going to say, these people are actually different. Their politics is different. And therefore, they will be able to gravitate to us. The other day, and you've observed interviews of Dr. Matiang'i, he's not accusing others, attacking others, and using language insulting others. That is missing in his interviews. And it's intentional. So I would like us to be intentional also. When we talk to other people, because we'll expand this tent. That's how we win. By being very intentional in the way we speak to the people we want to bring to our camp. Lies are not necessary. Attacking others are not necessary. If you have a good history, why are you attacking others? Give them your history. That's all you need to do. And you will be fine. The other thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to apologize saying this, let us not be caught up in our tribal cocoons. That's not going to help. For example, if I'm from, what is it called? Mulima? Mulima. Mulima cannot elect a president on its own. Just like Nyanza can't. For that reason, be very sensitive when you are talking to others and try to bring others in this camp. If we are going to make a good presidency, we have to start acting now like a good presidency. So now we're going to go to question and answers. I'm going to bring my very able secretary, SP. I've never had anybody called Spalatin, by the way. This guy is called Spalatin. Give him a clap, tafadhali.
Good evening once again. Good evening, friends. Let me hear you say, restore Kenya. When I say Matiang'i, Matiang'i, restore Kenya. Restore Kenya. Matiang'i. Now, I have a very difficult task at this moment because I recognize that we are running short of time, and I have to apologize that we are not going to be able to have a roaming mic. At a time, I think 2 months ago, we did request you to submit your questions online, and from that, we collected about 70 questions. I have collated all those questions into the bundles that I have in my hands. The good thing is, from Dr. Matiang'i's speech tonight, he has answered quite a few of those questions. Now, the task that is before me here is whether to go ahead and ask the questions and for him to choose to answer them or skip them. But let me say that I'm going to ask a few questions on current affairs and governance issues because you've touched on quite a few of those questions. And we'll see how far we can go with this. We've all witnessed the violence that has been meted on young Kenyans, noted Gen Zs in Kenya. And infringing on their right to picket since June 25th, as the youngsters here spoke about earlier. The latest cases of Albert Ojwang and Boniface Kariuki are still alive in our minds. Now, as a former CS Interior, what is your take on the high incidence of police brutality and extrajudicial killings? I will bundle that with another question addressing the Gen Zs. What is your take on how the Gen Zs are going about presenting their views on this matter? You can address that, and then we can move on to governance issues.
Thank you for the questions. You see, I think I'll explain this. I believe some of you will probably be hearing this for the first time. You know, the world over, police have what we call the foundational conduct of police is actually based on what we call the theory of training. In many countries, especially in communist-related countries or in Eastern Europe, police are trained to suppress the population, or they are trained in some cases to do work that is essentially militaristic and so on. Many civilian countries, especially democracies like ours, we train our police for purposes of just law and order, preserving law and order and tracing or investigating crime. So I'm saying this because even when I was in the Ministry of Interior, I was invited several times to Parliament to address these issues like extrajudicial killings and forced disappearances and so on. And I kept telling, I would tell members of Parliament, and I would tell you today as Kenyans, and please, this is the fact of the matter. Our police and our security, our domestic security teams are not trained to suppress the population, or they are not trained to control, or as I said, brutalize the population. That is why our police system is civilian supervised, because the minister is a civilian, the president and the National Security Council in most cases is populated by civilians. Our security teams are civilian supervised. They're supervised by civilians, not trained security people as it were. And because of that, the police developed the elaborate document called standing orders. The police have got standing orders. And the standing orders basically is the code of conduct for the police. It is because everybody realizes that sometimes there may be individual police officers, and there have been cases where individual police officers have acted beyond the law or beyond their powers under the law. And that happens with every profession, because I mean we have a code of conduct for teachers. I was Minister for Education, and I know cases where teachers were dismissed and punished for having affairs with students and that kind of thing. Because of that, that is why I normally say we have to drill down on these issues in a very specific manner. And that's why we call for accountability. And in cases where investigations have been done and culpability has been established, police officers have been jailed, and some of them have been punished. In cases where some of them have even been charged with manslaughter or even murder in that case, or execution for that matter. That's why on this particular issue, if you ask me what's my take on it, I have been calling for accountability. Let there be accountability for what has happened. And by the way, no one should tell you that we cannot get to the person who actually shot that person. Because you see, these teams move in the command in small groups as platoons and so on, and they are assigned particular areas when they are given assignments in the morning. So we can actually, there are many other things. I don't want to look like I'm betraying my former colleagues, senior security officials, but there are ways in which it can be established. You can drill down to the actual officers who are involved in those particular acts, and they are brought to book. They are punished. And if we don't do that, then we will have a rogue, security system. The reason why we always insist on accountability is because that is how civilian supervision is going to restore and ensure dignity in the policing of the country, as it were. Let me give you an example. A number of times when I was minister, I had these experiences, and let me give you practical examples. A border rider was killed by some police officers somewhere in Marani or somewhere there. And then I was invited to, because the matter became, problematic, so we were invited to investigate the issue. I went there with the Inspector General of Police. There is a unit we used to call the Internal Affairs Unit. And we drilled down to a point of actually getting the people who were actually involved in that particular incident. So it's possible, it's very possible to drill down to the respective incidents and ensure this is done. What is my take on how Gen Z are expressing themselves? I don't know of what kind of country we want to have where people don't express themselves. I've given this example before, and please, if you don't mind, you can indulge me, I give this example. When I went to education, I used to insist in schools, when I'm going to schools, especially for Parents' Day meetings, that let us now listen to even the students. Because, the general tradition of conducting affairs, in schools is you have a Parents' Day meeting, and everybody tunakula bilao, people stand up and go, and the students don't say a thing. Yet actually we have gone there for students. Educators in the room, like Dr. Weja know, that listening to the voice of that is where inclusion begins and ends. So I went to one school and I told the principal, I want to listen to the students, give them a mic. Let them also ask questions. And this girl asked a question, almost drove me to tears when she looked me in the face and said, and this is a girl who was in Form 3 or Form 4, told me, Minister, we work so hard in some of our schools. There are schools where people steal exams wantonly. And we know the basis upon which people are admitted to the Faculty of Law or to medicine and so on is on the basis of the grades they have. Now, those of us who are not able to steal exams are disadvantaged. What are you going to do to ensure that this does not happen? We were being called to account by our children, as it were. What is going on, honestly speaking, is something we can deal with less force, less arrogance, and so on, because there is nothing unusual or nothing extra that is being asked. What this is voice, the Kenyan population, they may be young, they are voicing themselves, they're saying this, they're voicing concerns and raising issues. Why don't you address those issues, as it were? And find answers. Where we don't have answers, we can confidently say we don't have the answers or bring them on board. That's why I've been saying we must be as open as possible, because we chose democracy. Why did we choose democracy? We don't want to listen to each other. We chose democracy. That's where I think personally I have a problem, that we are not listening. Let's listen to the issues that are being raised. Some of the issues that are being raised by Gen Z are straightforward matters that you can see, like recruitment and so on. If you need 200,000 shillings or 300,000 shillings today to get that letter of employing a teacher, 300,000 or 200, where are these guys going to get that money? And this is what they're asking for, equity, they're asking for objectivity, meritocracy, and these straightforward issues. Why should we even debate them in the first place if we are serious people? In our society. So my view is, and then that is a position I've held for a long time, is not just for this circumstance. Let us listen to one another. Let us listen to the younger part of our population. And I noted the other day in an interview that 70% of the Kenyan population, 70%, 7 out of 10 Kenyans you will meet are below the age of 35. So the 30% are the ones now sitting on these 70%, as it were. And if we are serious people, honestly, and I believe we are, shouldn't we be spending our energy and time on this 70% of the population? And if we are serious about what we believe, and these are the people who should be investing more of our energy, because this is the way the country is going to be in the future. Some of us are facing the door. These ones are coming in. Isn't this the part of our population that we should be spending time? And when they ask questions, we brutalize them, or we think it's not necessary for them to ask the questions. So my view is, and lastly on that particular matter, there are many things I will, when I release my manifesto, I'm going to point out, for example, a program that I would like to encourage Kenyan leaders to espouse. You guys are living in the US. You know something called the White House Fellows Program. The White House Fellows Program is one of the most famous programs that has trained leaders in this country. You know, young top interns who intern in White House who end up becoming leaders who do great things. Of course, the most famous intern was Monica Lewinsky for different reasons, for the wrong reasons. But you see, I would like, for example, I have been writing a program with my colleagues on my campaign team to develop a program like that in Kenya, if I had the opportunity myself to be president, and then replicate it 47 times in every county. Imagine how many young people you will bring into leadership through that. And then train them. Lastly, people forget one thing, by the way. The Matibas, the Kibakis, the Uhurus, who ended up becoming president, they started the experiment or the opportunity when they were 20-something years old. So why are we stopping them? Yeah, why are we stopping them? I mean, where are we going to get leaders from? Sasa tunakaa sisi tukae huko mpaka tukuishie huko, then what happens? Because we should now begin that process of trying those 20-something, bringing them, you know, and working on that program. So my vision, which I will publish in the document, is that one of replicating that White House Fellows Program and replicating it for 7 times in every county, and then using it to begin a new process of training young leaders. And I swear to you, I will manage it through a very brutal meritocratic process. Brutal. Yeah. I will not care whether somebody is Rendile or Michikenda or wherever they come from, whether they are pink, green, or yellow, provided they are Kenyans. And then you will see where Kenya goes after that. I mean, it will be interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Daktari, very, very much. As you have seen, they are dimming and lighting our lights because they're saying it is time. Huko kwa klabu tunaita last call. We may not be able to, as I said earlier. We're talking about time. This place, what? Come. Kuja uliza. You see that lady over there? Kama utanisaidia kulipa check, tukipitisha wakati.
Tuko na pesa tutatoa.
Pesa tutatoa wapi?
Tuko na pesa, hii ni diaspora. One question.
So, we would like to continue, as again we promised this place. And Vera will tell you it was very difficult to get this place. We want to be able to come tomorrow and get this place. Unaelewa? So please. Yeah.
We don't want to
that's the problem.
a separate meeting because we want our questions answered as young people, because we've had this narrative over and over again. And that's why we came, because we want to know if we are open to supporting the best candidate. We came to be convinced, but we are tired of being silenced as young people, not being given a platform all the time and being. So yes,
Ask the question. One.
just one there. Okay.
You can get out of here.
Yeah, so in the event that you become the president of the nation of Kenya, because there is a high possibility you will be the president. Yeah. And given the atrocities that Ruto has done, how will you hold President Ruto and his out of office and the complicit politicians and police officers accountable for over 94 deaths that have occurred at the protests that have occurred since last year and now? We want to see him jailed. That's what we want. We want all of them held accountable.
This is why maybe next time we have a meeting, we should start with them. Yeah. So that first and foremost on this matter, I believe very strongly, by the way, in accountability. That, you know, for every action that you engage in when you're in public office, I believe in accountability. That you should be asked questions and you should answer for what you have done when you're in public office. That's why for many times we have been in public. You know, by the way, I have answered questions myself about Rivayara. I've answered questions about cases of forced disappearances and said where investigations were not complete, the files are there, they should be complete, and I am myself ready to go before an inquiry. I think for this particular reason, and I agree with what you are saying, we should allow, we have enough instruments. You know, we are a country that is ruled by the Constitution and rule of law. We have enough instruments. We will not actually even need to reinvent any new instruments or write any new law. We are both local and international instruments. And you know, by dint of the fact that we are signatories to these international instruments, I am sure that some of them will probably not even need us as a government or as a country to invoke them. I have said this before. This is not the first time I'm saying it, so that someone says I'm saying it before I'm here. I have said it before in a separate interview in media in Kenya, that, you know, people need to be advised about one thing. And I used to tell even police officers when I was their minister, don't take instructions from me to do something wrong, because when you're standing in the dock, I will not be there. The truth of the matter is this: let us all pray and hope that, one, we have a peaceful movement and transfer of power, because the stability of the country is very important. And two, when that happens, I promise you that I will not depart from the line of accountability according to the law and according to what's happening. So that you see, sometimes our countries have got fragilities or certain challenges that we all know. If you politicize certain things, you can end up plunging the country into a chaotic situation. But if you stay on the path of the law, you are always better off if you stay on the path of the law, and the law assists you. Let me finish with this statement. The former head of public service, Mr. Francis Mudaura, when I was in government, we used to have challenges of one kind or the other. So I like consulting these wazes, sit down with the Mudaura. And Mudaura told me one thing that I will never ever forget. He told me, you know, Minister, if you actually lived by the law, you decided to yourself when you wake up in the morning, you are going to respect the law and you are going to follow the law, you will be a very peaceful man, because you will have nothing to worry about. Because the law makes it easier for everybody, for those who are aggrieved, for those who have been accused, to do the right thing. So I think my view is, let us pray, even as we part, let us pray that we have a peaceful arrangement, and through that, we ensure that the law and the constitution we have in place, which is strong enough, comes into play. I will not betray the constitution. That's my promise.
We have come to the end. This is a vote of thanks by Dr. Marwanga, please, before they shut us down.
God is good, and all the time. Thank you very much, everyone. Very quickly, let me just give a vote of thanks. But before I do that, my name, as Mr. Mwaura, who is the chairman, by the way, of the DMV group, has said, thank you very much, Mr. Mwaura. We have, here is the thing. I am one of those guys who went home believing in our country, and then I came back. In fact, I ran away eventually, saying, I'm done. When Dr. Matiang'i here called me that actually he's going to run, and they told me he's going to run, that's when I said, maybe I can actually go back home again. So and I know there's a lot of people like you, like me, who basically took off, but there is hope, isn't it? He has said there is what? There is hope. But then, how do we get him from where he is to where he needs to be in the office? Big challenge, and that's where we need the diaspora help. Why should the diaspora really be involved in this thing? Do you know that we in the diaspora actually know when Kenya is doing well and when it's not doing well? Right? When Kenya is not doing well, We are always wave. Is it wave? People are in hospital. People need fees and so on and so forth. When the country is doing well, then we don't have to do what? Our people are also what? Are comfortable. So, if the country, if Matiang'i gets there, we will definitely benefit as the diaspora. Then here's the thing, we have power. What power do we have? We have power from where we come from the village we come from. So we can do three things to support Dr. Matiang'i here. One is obviously we can vote. He has asked for the vote, isn't it? Secondly, we can also influence our villages. Talk to your people at home. First, tell them to get IDs, the young people. Tell them to get voters' cards. And then eventually to vote for who? For Dr. Matiang'i at the end. Second, let us try in social media to really brand Dr. Matiang'i. Let's sell him. And lastly, Dr. Matiang'i has to sell his vision, isn't it? He has to travel the entire country in Kenya, isn't it? How do you think we can support him with that? How can we support him? Wave. We can do wave. We can support him with what? With finance. So thank you very much, Dr. Matiang'i. We really appreciate that you have been here, that we have talked with your people here. Thank you very much, the TMV people, for organizing this. And the people, our people, my people, Dr. Matiang'i's people, thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate you. Excellent.
Thank you very much. Last prayer. That's prayer. This is a prayer so that we can go. We started with prayer. We're ending with prayer.
Shall we just stand up on our feet? Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Matiang'i, for being with us and sharing your vision. The scriptures tells us without a vision, the people perish. But you've helped us to understand that you bring leadership. So we're going to pray for our country, and we're going to pray that peace will prevail. There will be equity and sense of leadership. Father, we thank you tonight in the name of Jesus. Thank you for the forum that we have had tonight. Thank you for the vision that has been cast to us. And above all, Lord, we pray for our nation, Kenya. We pray that in our nation, there shall be justice. There shall be equity, and Lord, that there shall be prosperity in the name of Jesus. We pray that, Lord, you raise up leaders, men and women, that will take their responsibility to heart, and that they will do their job even in righteousness. We ask for your blessing upon Kenya. We ask for your favor upon our land. We thank you tonight. We give you the glory and we give you the praise. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. We'll be communicating with you after this. Please stay engaged. Thank you so much. The meeting has ended.